You ever hop on Roblox late at night, maybe with your friends, and you're scrolling through the platform, looking for something to play or pass the time? I was searching through the platform for something cool to play with friends, and I saw this particular game. Honestly, what caught my eye was the amount of players it had playing the game. So I obviously went to investigate it, and that's what brought me to Dead Rails. A game that completely threw me off with how simple it is, yet how strangely fun it was for other people playing it. It's a basic concept, it being an exploration survivor, yet the feeling was pretty much Roblox at its core. So after I played Dead Rails with my friends, I came back to properly play the game for myself, take everything in, and just learn more about it. As of right now I'm recording, Dead Rails has over 1.1 million concurrent players. That's completely amazing how a game in only the alpha phase is able to attain such amounts of players. I'm generally curious too on how it has so many players. I remember like a year ago, if a game had that many players, the Roblox servers would just start crashing down. But yeah, today I'm diving deep into the train ride through hell, Dead Rails. So sit back, relax, and let me take you through the entire ride. Starting off with the setting, the entire game takes place on a seemingly endless train ride, traveling through an unknown destination. You're not told too much, which actually works in the game's favor for new players. It lets your imagination fill in the gaps. And honestly, that makes it even more mysterious. You don't know what's out there. You start out just like any other passenger on this strange, dimly lit train, but the second you start exploring, you realize something's off. Aside from bandits, wolves, or other animals, things don't behave how they usually should, especially at night. The beauty of the lore in this game sort of reminds me of the top hit games such as, I know it's like random comparison or something, it reminds me of stuff like Elden Ring or Dark Souls in a way. It doesn't really spoon feed you the whole story of anything. You yourself piece it together through dialogue, items, and other events, and the result is basically through your own interpretation of piecing it together. It just shows the developers really had a vision for this world. It's just a different way to convey the story that I found kind of interesting. If you watched my previous videos reviewing games, you know I'm sort of like a lore story guy. I like that, you know, I like that type of thing in games. I'm not an expert, but I try to find some sort of backstory in games like this. What I've been able to piece together being a new player is pretty simple. On one of the newspapers, which you've probably turned into field by now in the first 5 minutes of the game, it drops some serious news. It is July 5th in the year 1899. It was supposedly located in San Antonio, USA. Government officials announced today that Mexican scientists developed a treatment for the zombie plague. Yeah, a zombie plague has broken out and has infested many towns. Speaking of towns, you actually run into them during your playthrough actually. If you look closely, some of the towns are forts overrun by zombies you kill. It has some special NPCs. One of these special NPCs in the towns that have access to the bank vaults is the same type of person you meet in the lobby. You don't want to end up like these villagers. You could easily end up like these people. You don't want to end up like them. So you've got to escape. Authorities urged all survivors to seek refuge in the capital, where the cure will be distributed. So now we know that we're not going to an unknown location. The goal is to escape the towns and head to the capital for either the cure or to seek refuge. Now on to the gameplay loop. What do you actually do in Dead Rails? Well, starting off in the lobby, you can choose different classes to play as from the tailor, which you can purchase by using your bonds currency. You can get these bonds by completing tasks or just simply collecting them during your gameplay run. Things like this adds on layers to the types of runs you can do in the game, like a werewolf run or a necromancer run, I don't know. It's basically sort of similar to a roguelike, to be honest. You could switch it up once in a while, you know? Starting off in a run, you're given a train and some cash. The goal is to drive the train and travel through distances, but the catch is that the train needs fuel, so it's your job to get that fuel by any means possible, whether it's by buying coal, throwing in corpses, or just some other sort of junk, whatever works. So now you're practically encouraged to explore and or loot many places to get something valuable. Now this may seem intense at first, but I promise you, once you play for a while, the gameplay loop becomes a whole lot more easier. I always talk about management in my videos because this is how you properly survive in these types of games. This game's form of management is material and or resource management. You need to determine what sorts of items are needed for your goals, whether you want to keep your items to sell it at the next town shop or just simply use it for fuel if it lets you. It's all up to you. And selling items give you currency, which you can use to purchase other items like guns, bandages, lightning rods to help with the weather, armor, etc. These all help you upgrade your character in that specific run to help you survive longer down the line. Oh, and by the way, I just want to mention, this game was so hard to solo castle dungeons for some reason for me. I can't believe how I was fighting for my life trying to explore a mysterious castle, which I thought I could handle at first at the time. I mean, I was more so stacked on weapons, only to simply regret ever stepping foot in that corridor. I tried to Shazam my way through the hordes of big buff werewolves and vampires, since reviving literally smites your location, but they just kept coming non-stop, and I just gave up. After completing a couple runs, I say the hardest part of the game is simply the ending, which is really not saying too much. Once you stack up on cash and invest in some guns and ammo, the final showdown at the bridge becomes child's play. I've seen gameplay though where you can dig deep into the lore and invite boss fights, which I thought was pretty cool, I guess. Back to my point on the gameplay loop becoming a whole lot more easier. Once you do a couple runs and you get a feel of how the game operates, the game becomes a complete cakewalk sometimes. I don't know if it's a bad thing or not, I'm just merely explaining my experience. So after spending a good amount of time on Dead Rails, what do I think? I'll be honest, I enjoyed my time playing it. I mean, it's not like it's the craziest game in the world, okay? It's just to clarify, I just see why people play the game. Is it perfect? Obviously not. With so many players, the game obviously has a huge player base. One could only pray and hope they live up to their community standards. It could use some quality of life improvements maybe, I don't know. I hope they really listen to their community. One thing I want to point out, I'm not necessarily sure if it's a bad mechanic or not, to be honest. I'm just merely gonna mention it and explain it. The absurd amount of RNG difficulty in this game, from what I've gathered on my playthroughs, enemy variety is practically random. There could be runs where I'm just strolling by on my train, literally having the most monotonous experience ever. It's just like zombies or just... Then on another experience, I had nearly every night of just non-stop vampires and werewolves just jumping me. And actually, if you properly manage the resources and just have good knowledge on the game, despite all that RNG, I think even encountering those monsters with that knowledge should become way more easier, obviously. If you're looking for just a new game that passes the time, then this game may be for you. And yeah, that's Dead Rails. A strange, weird survivor experience with a sprinkle of horror that turns a simple train ride into something more bizarre, depending on your run. To answer the question, is it worth the hype or not? Is it worth your time? I give it a... It's not like anything too crazy, it's just... And it's not terrible, it's just an alright game. And it's not like the game concept is anything new. We've seen this before in games like that one driving game, Dusty Trip. This game just happens to have more attraction and more interest, you know? I highly recommend you to check it out, just to get a feel of the game, you know? I can see why people get addicted to the gameplay loop sometimes, seeing how far they'll get this time, or even hopping on just to simply waste time. And hey, if you do actively play it, drop a comment and just tell me what you think about the game so far in its alpha stages. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe. I'm aiming to hit 14,000 before the end of the year, so every bit of support helps. If you have any other game recommendations for me to check out, let me know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.